This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, but Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go from here it's well, you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! At this time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable adventure line. Just follow the line. How simple is that? No, I'm down. We're leaving it up to the line from now on. Cut the music. Go back and look at that fern. Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. So I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits. Oh, hold on, what's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game eight times? I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped. Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track. Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers, the lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life, for he would dismantle the controls once and for all. Stanley was fat and ugly and really, really stupid. He probably only got his job because of a family connection. That's how stupid he is. That, or with drug money. Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs. Okay, the room where we're holding the press conference should be just around the corner here somewhere.
Hauria d'haver prestat una mica més d'atenció a la lectura. És que és o comentar o prestar atenció.
And I realize I'm not a sportsologist, but if one ball generates a certain amount of raw adrenal pleasure, then surely multiple balls makes for an even more euphoric sports experience. The office had become just so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had become just
Oh, espera!
so far off the beaten. You didn't think I was actually just a recording, did you?
3, 2, 1, good job, you made it to the bottom of the mind control facility. Jumped up the catwalk.
Per fi salto! Un temple antic amb fotocopiadores.
You see, Stanley, doesn't the memory zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013?
I a més... El narrador està molt callat, ara. Oh, aquí hi ha un colall. Oh, més música.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com.
Ai, més ressenyes d'Steam.
A skip button. Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then build 200
Vale, prou.
full exercise at making this.
Ens ho esbrinarem ara.
It isn't the same at all. Have we? Well, with someone will say. And there's never.
Vull que es desbloquegi. A veure si surto. Ai. Oh no, el botó s'ha trencat. Ara no queda res.
You know what? Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley Parable 2 as well. It's. Oh, wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle. Oh, well.
Dóna'm més, sisplau.
A nice decorative piece, then.
No!
Can you feel it? The glow of comfort.
No pot tornar.
Is crushing despair.
Oh, ara va més ràpid. Pararam, pam, pam.
I love that video.
Jo també m'he divertit molt. Quina pena que s'acabi, oi? Bueno, ja saps com van les coses.
The end is never the end is never the end is never the end is the end is never the end is never the end is never the end. Anem amb l'epíleg. Estic gravant una mica de nit, per tant estic una mica cansat, però és que aquest cop estic perdent temps, tinc menys temps que abans. Potser aquesta ràfaga de contingut s'acaba. Espero que no, perquè m'agrada molt gravar. Estic bé últimament per gravar i em fa mal l'estómac, a veure si no vomito. Bueno. Epíleg. Sí, aquí s'acaba tot. Potser l'epíleg és fals, com tot el concepte de fi a Stanley Parable, però només ho podrem saber si cliquem aquí. I bueno, aquí no veig cap diferència a carregar-ho a epíleg. Pam, pam, pam! Moltíssims anys després. Això deu de ser de la jubilació del narrador, no? Oh. Com? Hòstia! Hòstia, qui... Recorda això? Ha passat alguna cosa més que reiniciar-se? Com? Que al final continua? Hòstia, això no m'ho hauria esperat, I potser algú nou no s'hauria estranyat tant perquè no coneix Stanley, però... Per cert, no puc saltar el foc és com que té una hitbox i molt més gran que el foc. Un altre cop negre. Ui, espera, cadires? Les cadires... Bueno, esclar, tothom sap que les cadires estan fetes d'un material que és capaç de resistir al canvi climàtic. I per tant és normal que es quedi aquí. Per cert, és com que se sent molt fort. Ara s'ha fet de nit. Hòstia. No m'esperava que fos la continuació d'això. Oh, ara estem al planeta morado. Oh, un tros de temple antic amb fotocopiadores. La zona dels records. Puto botó de saltar. En sèrio, jo no volia un botó de saltar. Bueno, no hem tingut un botó de saltar, el botó de saltar que volia, tampoc, que era el que negava jo. Però aquest tampoc m'agrada gaire, Oh! Oh, espera, això? Però Stanley Parable 2 ve després de la zona dels records. Ui. Aquí deia de narrator, no? Bueno, no recordo massa bé què deia, però això no hauria d'estar aquí. No sabíem ni que hi hauria una seqüela. Ui, això ja és nou. No és ni on van veure les figuretes ni... Oh, sí, és on van... És on les figuretes. Per cert, no hi ha galleda a l'epíleg. Una mica trist. Això és un telèfon? No, no és un telèfon. Què diu aquí? Com? Cookie Nine? Aquest no era el que va demanar el botó de saltar? Ressenya de Stanley Parable 2. Com tantes altres persones vaig disfrutar molt jugant a l'Stanley Parable... Va disfrutar jugant a l'Stanley original i després demanes un botó de saltar i que és horrible i pesat. Bueno, és clar. Perfecte per criticar. Va disfrutar moltíssim, sí, ja se sap que vas disfrutar moltíssim amb Stanley. Vols saltar el narrador. Voler saltar el narrador. Penso que allò és tornar enrere. Desenvolupadors. Gem! Vull prémer el botó de... Bé! Funcionen! I el narrador no m'atura. Puc prémer-el tants cops com vulgui. Bueno, deixaré de deleitar-me i... Joder, és que és addictiu, Encara que, bueno, posaré el que interessa. Desenvolupadors de Stanley Parable, prou de spin-offs, prou seqüeles. Es va convertir en un gran èxit i els seus creadors van fer plans per convertir el títol en una saga, però la desastrosa recepció Stanley Parable 2 va fer que els desenvolupadors... Hòstia. No, és com que al final s'han fusionat. Està clar, els fans no volen més Stanley. La nostra visió... Els desenvolupadors prometen presentar la integritat artística del joc, atacant amb noves... Ui... Vale, d'allò ve la seqüela que... amb tan poc contingut. Hi ha més botons de Jim i no recordo per on havia entrat. Joder, això és la droga. No em canso mai de prema'ls. Aquest, només és aquest de Stanley. Bueno, ara he de recollir els ficlis, no? Ui! S'acumula el número, bueno. Sembla que no tinc possibilitats de saltar un altre cop perquè aquest joc té massa memòria. Per cert, allí tant em vaig adonar que em vaig deixar un ficli. Oh? Nova oficina? Segueix havent dues portes. Gràcies per disfrutar el nou contingut. Bueno, jo no sabia què fer i vaig anar aquí com uns 3 cops i penso que a ningú li interessa veure el final repetit tant, o sigui que saltaré a... Ho he hagut de mirar a la wiki perquè no sé on em vaig deixar el cervell, que per algun motiu suposadament tenia que acostar-me a l'ordinador, però no ho vaig fer i em vaig quedar allà parat. Bueno, caminaré una esperant, mica, després reiniciar, bueno, penso que millor saltar. I hem d'anar a l'ordinador. Ei! Hola! Sembla que ens tornem a veure. T'havies marxat, et trobava a faltar. Un plaer tornar-te a veure. També ho dic jo. Però és terrible descobrir que mai hi haurà un altre joc de Stanley Parable. Has llegit el que van dir els desenvolupadors? Preservar la integritat de la sèrie? Quina ridiculesa. Stanley Parable no és alguna cosa tan sagrada. El diable m'ha llegat. Seguirem fent jocs de Stanley Parable fins que esclati el sol. I si la gent ho odia, a qui li importa? Aquell era el problema del narrador. Estava obsessionat amb que la gent opinava de la seva obra. Has fet tu que el mati? Espero que no, perquè em caus bé. No cometeixis el mateix error. No t'aferris al llegat. Deixa que cremi. No és difícil. Et mostraré com fer-ho. Junts farem Stanley Parable 3. És senzill. Només hem de canviar el número de la pantalla inicial del joc. També necessitem un subtítol del més idiota per al joc, alguna cosa cridanera i de mal gust. Endavant, combina aquestes paraules aleatòries i crea un títol nou per al nostre joc. Quines paraules? Oh! El señor del escape podría ser... Oh, uf. El destino del cuadrado. Stanley Parable 3. El destino del cuadrado. És absurd, m'encanta. Cada cop que reinicis el joc, avançarem en 1 el número de la seqüela i escollirem un nou subtítol. Així, The Stanley Parable mai més acabarà. I res del joc en si mateix canviarà quan facis allò. Afegir més contingut sona massa treballós, no fa falta. Serà el mateix contingut reciclat una i una altra vegada, amb una nova pantalla inicial. Què et sembla? Avancem aquest pla? No. A mi m'agrada, però m'agradaria conèixer la teva opinió. No sé què fer. Va. Bé, està decidit. Una nova seqüela cada cop que inicis el joc. I saps què? Com vas depositar la teva fe en la meva idea, jo també vull donar-te alguna cosa. Veig que el narrador mai no va trobar la manera de donar-te el logo averiat, no? És clar que no. Ni deu ser com fer-ho. M'ha estat molestant. Anem a solucionar-ho. Llestos, ja està. La màquina de logros està reparada. Bé, estic al teu costat. Som un equip. Ara farem que aquest tren mai no s'aturi. The Stanley Parable no pot acabar. Només pot girar alrededor de si mateix per sempre. He de fer que la roda sigui girant. Estic llest. I tu? Genial. Només tenim que fer una cosa més. Introdueix l'hora actual. No, i 22. D'acord, com sempre. Gràcies, que disfrutis de Stanley Parable. Hòstia, puc tornar a fer la pila? Què fa aquí un cotxe? La pila que és igual, no? Ara tornen als símbols originals. Aquesta pantalla és horrible. Ai. No t'hauria d'haver fet cas. Doncs res. Ara farem un final de galleda per acabar.
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Doncs res.
Warmth spread through Stanley's arms. With the bucket in his arms again, he was home.
Bueno. No em caus bé. No m'ha...
Stanley clung the bucket to his cheek. Could his co-workers really all be gone?
Oh, també ha canviat el no matter how hard he looked.
Yes, whispered the bucket into Stanley's ear. We've done it. We've escaped from that dull office and that pesky narrator. At last, out here in the white void, we are alone. Now, and for the first time, I can reveal to you my true self. The bucket began to tell Stanley of its life and its history, of the countless wars it witnessed, desecrating the land and lives of untold numbers of innocent humans, and the bucket's own complicity therein, of sadness and regret, and the many years it spent dwelling on the actions it might have taken to curb the madness and decay, if only it had been stronger, of hope and redemption, and its crusade to uplift the stock of life for the common man, to manifest justice where none existed, and the bittersweet reality of time, to see one's dreams and wishes met halfway, meted out in parcels like charity, and abandoned as soon as the warm glow of inspiration begins to dim. The opportunities to do so much more. There was so much it could have done, perhaps, the bucket wondered to itself. Perhaps, if it had seen its own darkness with a clearer perception. This was way too much for Stanley.
What are you talking about?
He screamed.
You're a bucket!
To this, the bucket furrowed its brow.
No,
said the bucket.
not since the evil wizard Gambhorata first ensnared me in his machinations as payback for the sacred amulet I stole from his treasured vaults. I was young back then and could not conceive the ramifications of... No!
Stanley screamed even louder this time.
This is stupid! You are a bucket!
Doncs no sembla tranquil·litzar gaire aquesta galleda.
Why are we even doing this?
As Stanley screamed and screamed and screamed, the bucket revealed its true form, transforming into a mighty beast of untold power, its fangs glistening like... My God, Stanley, you did it. You saved us from the bucket. Thank God you already had all 12 emblems of sages and knew the incantations to summon their true power. Otherwise, we would have easily been overwhelmed by the bucket's power I'm
La galleda
speechless.
sagna.
You've demonstrated such bravery here today. Come, let's restart the game, and we'll agree to never again go trifling with this bucket, nor the dark magic cast away inside of it.
Hòstia. Final gore. Sabia que la galleda era
All of his
malvada.
co-workers were
Per cert,
gone.
no podem fer
What
aquest
could it
final amb la
mean?
galleda.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Penso que...
Stanley picked up the bucket and smiled. He'd never be alone again, not truly alone, not with the bucket around.
Nou contingut? Torna a Stanley Parable 2. Més nou contingut? Ah, espera! No ho faré ara perquè és un final molt llarg. Ho farem al
All of
proper
his
episodi.
co-workers were gone. What could
Allò
it
deu de
mean?
ser per aconseguir el logro,
Stanley decided to go
perquè
to
va
the
dir que
meeting
me'l
room.
donaria.
Perhaps the good old bucket. Just Stanley and the bucket, off on another thrilling adventure together.
Bueno,
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
bueno. Més finals.
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers. Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket.
Com?
You can feel that, can't you? The aura of jealousy? It's as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the bucket.
Oh,
I can really
l'armari
feel
la
it.
neteja vol la
It's a
galleda?
bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's what the broom closet is trying to say here. It's supposed to go with the other cleaning supplies. Good for you, Stanley. Don't give in. Don't hand over the bucket. I know how hard it must be, given the pressure that the broom closet is putting on your
Uf,
shoulders
és molt
right now,
difícil,
but you
és
have
que
to be
tinc
strong.
moltes ganes de
This is your
donar-lo.
bucket. This is your companion and lifelong friend. You can't hand it over. Oh, no. We're getting into name-calling now, it seems. Is this how low the
serà
broom
difícil no
closet is
tornar-lo,
sunk that it has to resort to this stream of petty insults simply in order to get you to hand over the bucket? Stanley, I never liked this broom closet for a variety of reasons, but even this is worse than I had imagined. And wait, now the broom closet has the gall to imply that you and the bucket are not truly deep and lasting friends? That your relationship is purely superficial and convenient? That your life is so banal and meaningless that you'd feel the same sort of kinship towards any inanimate object which happened to lay in your path in an even partially enticing manner? Well, I never. Go on, Stanley. Lay into it. Really tell the broom closet off for its demeaning comments. Expand on the wide variety of experiences
Armari de
you and the
neteja.
bucket have shared
Ets super
together.
malvat.
Go through each of them point by point. Share your journal entries detailing the rich emotional landscape of your feelings for the
La
bucket
meva
as they
galleda,
have changed
me
and
l'estimo
evolved
molt.
over the years.
I per què?
There you
Doncs
have
perquè
it.
és una galleda i m'agraden les galledes. No hi ha més, no?
Okay, I've got you something which I think will help settle this debate once and for all. Here we go. There. Now it's settled. No more debate, no more discussion.
Ara és
Take
la meva
our hype
propietat.
broom closet with all your meandering philosophical diatribes about the nature of cleaning supplies and their relationship to broom closets in the natural order of things.
Doncs jo em quedo aquí a veure si hi ha més diàleg.
All right, I've got a second sticker back here, and I'm going to slap it on as
Oh,
well
there's
because
nothing
I
in
think it's appropriate. You see? I feel that it works because the sticker is also a bucket.
Sí, és clar, és...
That way,
És
if you're
ingeniós.
ever unsure whether the thing you're holding is a bucket or not, you can look down at this sticker and say to yourself, ah, it's a bucket. There really is a wide variety of applications for this sticker.
Sí, molts usos. Encara que ara que és propietat meva ja no el puc tornar.
You know what? I could take the name-calling and the dismissal of your kinship with the bucket, but now the broom closet is just giving us the silent treatment.
Oh.
And to be honest, I'm sick of the pettiness on display. You can stay here all you like, but I've had it with this impetulant room of cleaning supplies. Easily the most childish such room I've ever been in. I'll see you outside, and we can get on with the
Aquí
story
se'n va
about you
abans.
and your bucket.
Però bueno, ara tinc ganxines, la galleda. Encara que només les podem usar per alguns finals.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Vale, vaig fer un final còmic i va sortir així. I la galleda es va començar, es va tornar un monstre amb ullals. A veure què passa si faig un final mortal.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk?
Però si aquest és el mateix
Everyone
diàleg.
had vanished. His boss would think he was crazy. And then, something occurred to Stanley.
Espera, potser la galleda em tranquil·litza i així no em torno boig?
Maybe I am crazy.
I així no em moro?
He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I
vale.
crazy? He asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all.
Oh, no.
That's strange, Stanley thought.
Doncs
Usually
morim
the
igual.
bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom.
Però la galleda també mor.
In difficult times such as these, he held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong.
No, però
Surely
és el
no
meu.
good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience
No,
without
però
the
és meu.
psychologically
Diu que és
grounding
propietat de
presence of his
Stanley.
bucket. And indeed, now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd. And now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious, he exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him.
Galleda?
Stanley, it's
Galleda!
me,
Galleda, no!
bucket.
Could it truly be? He rushed forward from room to room,
Galleda,
passing
no!
by one bucket after the next. None of them were his.
Galleda!
None of them were his special bucket.
No les puc agafar!
Stanley, find me.
Però
He
aquesta no
had
té
to find the
enganxines.
bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then
On és la meva galleda? La puc reconèixer per les enganxines que li ha posat... Oh, espera, potser les enganxines s'han tret. No, on és la meva galleda? Galleda!
was inside of him all along.
Què?
It was incredibly painful. Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out.
Bueno, aquí m'he mort més ràpid.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
També Mariela, no?
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed,
Què?
picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work.
Oh, però Mariela ara té una
But on
galleda.
this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket.
Oh.
Of course he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all
La
just
galleda
a
ha creat una
video
societat
game
que
that
dependria
could all have
d'ella?
been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought.
Oh,
And she
aquest cop
hugged her
Mariella no
own
està
bucket
feliç.
even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck
Hòstia!
yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work.
O sigui que... Hòstia, cada cop és com que la galleda cada cop es torna més dolenta. Doncs bueno, aquí ho deixem. A veure quina... Ara ja sabem l'autèntica natura de la galleda. La galleda no està per tranquil·litzar-nos, està per veure'ns... Està per repartir el mal
All of his
i
co-workers were gone.
el caos i el mal.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Però
Perhaps
en
he
el
had
proper
simply
episodi
missed a memo.
aconseguirem el logro, més galleda, perquè la galleda vindrà amb nosaltres, per cert, perquè és dolenta però és la meva galleda. Mira, aquí diu propietat de Stanley. Perquè sóc Stanley, perquè un botó que deia el meu nom deia Stanley, a l'epíleg. O sigui que, bueno... Es pot treure això perquè no m'agrada. Doncs bueno, adeu. Aquí anava a fer l'outro al Bottom of the Mind Control Facility, però M'he oblidat de que ara Stanley són seqüeles infinites. O sigui que, bueno, farem l'Stanley Parable 4, el proper episodi hi haurà el 5. M'agrada Stanley encuentra un esqueleto. Vale. Hòstia! Espera, potser és que... Està tot... Podria ser que el destino del cuadrado no té sentit i... Potser el destino del cuadrado era... que un cotxe anés a un desert. Sense galleda. Aquí no ens farem spoilers, només anirem a fer alguna cosa xula per a l'altre. Em ve de gust anar per el camí llarg. Espera. Les enganxines s'han conservat, o sigui que si torno a fer aquest final, puc fer que la galleda estigui tota coberta d'enganxines? Per cert, he vist que... No recordo què era, però vas veure el World de Deluxe, i sí que li apareixia al punt central.
What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Va, que tenia el truc. Però per què no puc? 20. 26 no!
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
Bueno, no hi haurà música de New Age. Hi haurà... A veure, que ho vaig veure en un vídeo. Hi ha el punt central... És això? Ah, sí. Oh, però ara està tot el temps al mig. Oh, espera. Configuración. Juego de disparos en primera persona. En segona. Un fusil. El preferit de Joe. Jugada a la partida. Windows. Punt. Penso que em posaré el joc de dispars en primera persona. Vale, molt millor.
But it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in, and the door just opened all by itself, and Stanley got the hell along with the story. Well, whoop-de-doo.
Merda, això es va obrir sol abans de que jo pogués. En sèrio, la manca de punt m'ha fet descobrir una cosa. No sabia que es podia obrir sol. Hòstia. Això és enorme. És que tots són massa grossos, excepte el punt que sembla una brossa a la pantalla. Aquest episodi es dirà He trobat el punt perdut. Hi ha moltes coses. Trobo el punt perdut... epíleg i la gran traïció de la galleda. De la galleda i el meu amic. Aquest sí que s'ha saltat.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
I aquest cop activarem l'última combinació possible. La vam fer amb només llum, llum i càmeres. Ara només queda amb el secret. Festa! Ah, no, espera. Ah, no, sí, era per allà. Vaig anar per aquí. Vale, per aquí es podia, però penso que era més fàcil per aquí. Per cert, qui creieu que guanyaria en una competició de temazos? Aquesta o la que escoltarem a continuació? Vale, aquesta era la manera més fàcil. és difícil decisió. La veritat és que no sé si prefereixo treure aquesta. Aquesta el que té és que és un clàssic. I ara aquí tenim doble secret.
You've made it to the bottom of the mind control facility. Welcome. You see, back when the
Doncs,
Stanley
bueno,
Parable first launched in 2013,
aquí ve el comiat final.
getting to the bottom of the mind
Ara
control
només
facility
posarem una
was a
outro
bug
aquí
that
sobre.
we simply, and you all sent us lots of photos of it on Twitter and acted very superior about it. And you're all very, very clever. Good for you. Anyway, when it came time to update the game, we knew that we had to do something about this little goof of ours, so here you go. New content. You can call it the bottom of the mind control room ending, if that enhances your perception of the value of these updates. Isn't that what you crave? New content? Always more content, more content, more. And I'm here to give it to you. I'm here to make it seem like we really covered every nook and cranny of the game, with secrets and Easter eggs. How about this? We wrote a new piece of music just for this section. You won't hear it anywhere else in the game. It's a secret that's just for you. That's how special you are. We call this track, Good Job You've Made It to the Bottom of the Mind Control Facility. Well done.
Good job, you did it. Good job. 3, 2, 1. Good job, you made it to the bottom of the mind control facility. You jumped on the catwalk. You should have been careful. You should have been careful. It used to be a bug, but now it's an ending. Now it's an ending. I believe in you. I believe in your ability to cross this barrier. Chase your dreams. Railings don't mean anything. Good job, you did it. 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 Good job, you did it.